Just a heads up, this one has spoilers for some of the episodes dealing with Joe's love life. If you're new to the show, be warned. If you'd rather not take the risk, I understand if you skip this one, but I'll try to only talk about those details that I need to illustrate my point. It's the age-old Bonanza mystery, but have any of you Joe gals ever actually sat and added up how many love interests he had? I'm sure some of you have. I know I have. It isn't out of jealousy as might be the case for some of you, not that I'm judging, but in my case, it's purely research. And the answer, if you're curious, 42, which, incidentally, happens to be the numerical answer to life, the universe, and everything, so maybe he's onto something. I swear I didn't make that number up. Let's break it down by season and I'll prove it. Before anybody gets huffy at either me or Joe here, this is counting anyone he's ever flirted with, as well as serious relationships. It isn't like he proposed to every single one of them, although it could feel like it sometimes. Sure, the ones he did propose to might still have made a compelling case and given me plenty of material, but I wanted to cover it all just in case this is the only video I ever do on the subject. And when I lay the numbers by season out in type, I noticed something interesting that might be less obvious if we only covered the proposals. Let's see if you spot it. In Season 1, we have 8. Admittedly, that's a lot for a 17-year-old. In Season 2, there are 7. In Season 3, he has 6. Season 4, 3. Season 5, 4. Season 6, 1. 2 if you count the trap, but for reasons we'll get to in a minute, I don't. Season 7, only 1. Season 8, only 1. Season 9, again, 1. Season 10 jumps it back up to 3. Season 11 has 3 again. One of these is an implied date off screen. Season 12, back at 1. Season 13, 2, with 1 that's just implied. And Season 14, Alice. He ends it by going down the aisle. Okay, so did you catch it? The number actually goes down the older Joe gets. There were a couple of episodes I didn't count as they were women he never actually had feelings for going after him without any invitation to do so. An example of that would be Season 6's The Trap, where Hallie gets it in her head that Joe killed her husband so they could be together, and tries to push the relationship until her brother-in-law shows up and makes the rest of the episode about him. And Season 8's Something Hurt, Something Wild, where Joe is accused by Lori of doing an attempted grape juice because I can't say that word on YouTube. In fairness to him, he never gets into another relationship again after his wife Alice dies in Season 14. Sure, there isn't much left of the show after that, and a lot of the focus gets shifted off of Joe for most of it, but in world, it's commendable. Consider that Ben remarried twice after being widowed and made the attempt again a few times after the third time he was widowed. I'm of course not dissing Ben for that. I'm just making a comparison for the sake of this video's point because Joe gets more flack than Ben. Joe never even has a named or confirmed date again after forever. If you've been around the fandom for a while, you might have already noticed the amount of women Joe professes his undying love to in the 14 years he graces our screens, even if you never sat and counted it like I did. If you'd like to see a fun video narrowing it down against the backdrop of Jason Aldean's A Girl Like You, Millie over at the channel Saga of the Ponderosa has you covered. Her video is called Little Joe and His Many Loves, and the ending is perfection, let me tell you. Please just go watch it after we get done here. You will be entertained. Some fans, all of whom I imagine are not hardcore Joe gals, use these numbers as a point to tease him at least and criticize him at worst. That in and of itself made me think that this video was worth doing to answer the question: is Joe a Cowboy Casanova or just a hopeless romantic? As I previously mentioned, Little Joe is about 17 in Rose Ferlata, the pilot of the series. He's wild and impetuous. He also proves himself to have a love of the females. Right from the start, he's attempting to romance the actress Lotta Crabtree, and that is used against him. So you might say that it is this very quality that kickstarts the first plot of the show. You know, if you want to indulge in a little bit of double meaning. Remember, though, all 3 boys kind of lusted after Lily Munster. Joe is shown throughout the show to flirt a bit more openly than his older brothers and has more occasions than they have of it not being with the intent to have it go anywhere. That being said, he also lets out the L word more than the other 2. That could just be down to the fact that Hoss is more shy and Adam more reserved. Once again, I invite you to a video from the Yeehaw Bonanza podcast where Melissa covers Bitterwater and presents the idea about Adam maybe having some commitment issues. I'll talk about that myself when I get around to that episode, because I do have an opinion, but that could be a while. For now, I'll just point out that Adam and Hoss are much older than Joe. Adam is a whopping 12 years older than Joe. There is more than one occasion where the two of them get frustrated by the antics of Joe's youth. Ben seems, of course, to hold a special place in his heart for his baby son, and therefore shows a bit more understanding of these wild ways, most of the time. Also, the show has fun with this trait of Joe's, as there are a few instances where guest characters make mention of Joe's love life up to that point in the story. In Denver McKee, some of the other Virginia City guys tell Connie all about Joe's history with the ladies, and Joe himself mentions it when talking to her father later in the episode. Connie goes so far as to ask Joe about a few girls by name that we've never even heard of, which I find hilarious considering how many confirmed ones we have to work with. Instead of asking about Judy Polk or Sally Putnam, ask why the heck he wanted to marry a girl who thought she was a wolf, or implied that he might go on another date with a girl who got herself kidnapped by a carnival owner who she flirted with while on a date with Joe to said carnival and almost got Joe killed, saving her. Those are the decisions you should be questioning. Then again, this is Connie McKee we're talking about. A decision worth questioning all by itself. There are times when it's not so funny, though, as the blue dress curse comes for Cartwright Loves All, it seems. Perhaps a byproduct of the fact that Joe has the most loves on the show, he also suffers the most losses. The most memorable ones off the top of my head are Amy, Laura, Sally, and Alice. 3 of these are murdered, and 1 has a terminal illness before they even start falling in love. He seems to have genuine love for all of them, even though he's very young with Amy. I mean, you could count Louise Corman in there, but she's already dead by the time he meets her, so Yep, Joe's had such a storied love life that he even falls in love with a ghost. And I'm not sorry. I can make one joke at this kid's expense since I'm putting in all the work to defend him, okay? Now, am I saying his flirtatious nature never gets him into trouble? Oh, heck no. This is the guy who took a Paiute girl to a dance in Virginia City and had the chief crashing it to bring her back. This is the guy who tried to make his father's girl kiss him to prove she was no good, and then got scared when she played his game better than he did because she was on to him from the start. And yes, I know Adam did the same thing. What can I say? Hoss is the most sensible one. We know this. We could go on about the poor decisions, but we could also go on about the other guys' poor decisions too, such as Laura Dayton, Linda Chadwick, and Reagan Miller. Our guys can't throw stones any more than we can. At the end of the day, it all boils down to a difference in personality. All 3 of Ben's boys has their own distinct one. Also, we must remember when comparing any of them against real-world standards that the Cartwrights are subject to the in-world deities that are the writers. Joe was played as a heartthrob, and Michael Landon did his job exceptionally. Most of us who love Happy Days don't remember the Fonz in a negative light, and Joe is certainly no more egregious than he was. I would argue Joe put more effort into his love. Again, not dissing Arthur Fonzarelli. He was my first love before Adam Cartwright. To say that all or even most of Joe's love interests didn't mean anything to him would be disingenuous. To question what it is about him that made him fall in love so often and propose so much might be worth asking, so long as it's done in good faith. I don't believe that he was as flippant as some may argue. If he had been married earlier than season 14 to one of the others he asked before Alice, I believe he would have been just as true to her as he was to Alice. We will never know, though, because again, the higher power running the lives of a fictional character is the show writer. What we do know is the show put him in a certain role, and that put him in contact with several more potential love interests than the others by design. But I don't believe the show ever wanted us to see this as a character flaw in Joe. All of this is not to say that we can't tease him for his sometimes cheesy and overplayed romances. Again, as long as it's in good faith and out of love for the character. And as long as we tease the others too. Ruth from The Savage is one of my favorite romances for Adam. But when he says, "I love you very much," the line just comes off, I'm sorry, but really bad. We'll get there. The entire episode is so cheesy that we should bring our own nachos when we watch it. But I do love it. Joe's line, "I love you more than anything in the world," is like that. We are led to believe they both mean it at the time in which they say it. And let's be honest, who doesn't love a bit of cheese sometimes? And who among us would actually care how many other women our favorite Cartwright has said it to if we had ever been given the opportunity to be among the many? I challenge you to find the Joe gal who wouldn't jump at the chance to get some of that harmless flirting that Mina took too seriously. I'll wait. In the meantime, none of their romances were ever slated to last, so why not just enjoy them while they're on screen? That is, unless the girl's name is Melinda, or Connie, or Tirza. Okay, I'm going to stop before this turns into Mambo number 5. Anyway, happy Valentine's Day. Drop your favorite Joe romance in the comments, and then go watch your favorite romance episodes of Bonanza. I'll be right there with you.